Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting us over here. Well, as this discussion is supposed to be the impact of fast-changing technology on student and faculty engagement. So we are talking about engagement, but before we set the floor rolling, ball rolling, sorry, we need to understand a few facts about technology and what is the state of affairs we are in. The fact remains that information is no more the key to success. It seems that the excess information is a problem nowadays. Also the fact remains that after the COVID impact, the online education is the norm of the day, and hybrid seems to be the best form of teaching and learning, is also an accepted norm, what we realize in the business schools. The fact that data sciences, decision sciences, and digital transformation are the courses of the era, and these are the preferred courses which the students prefer to take in the business schools nowadays, and we need to prepare for that. With the digital and the courses on data sciences, the tool-based learning, like and the company-specific tools like SAP, SAS, and so-called the other tools which the companies prescribe and which you get addicted to, have also become the norms of teaching. The open AI, Gen AI, and especially after the Chat GPT onslaught, the business schools and the faculty are forced to bring in more and more AI tools into the curriculum, and we seems to be getting subservient to AI, both the faculty and the students. Also, the blockchain-based credentialing will also become the norm, and people would look in for those certificates, and your degree may not be that important. The micro-credentialing and the blockchain-based credentialing, which is internationalized, will also become the norm of the hour or sought out certificates in future. Simulations, AR, VR usages for your practical experiences and field-based experiences, real-life experiences are also hovering over your head, and we need to change all that. Adaptive learning seems to be the better way of learning, and evaluation of the students in the AI environment is very, very critical, and very difficult for us as teachers, that how do you try to teach them through AI, but you want to evaluate them on paper and pencil. It's a very difficult time for all of us in the business schools, especially because we are supposed to lead the way. The businesses have moved on into the AI, usage of substantive AI, and but faculty with experience are slow learners than the students are. Let me open the floor for all of you. We'll go by this more that let's each one of us speak for 2-3 minutes on your thoughts on this topic today, and then we'll have the rounds of questions.
Want to start from here? Yeah. Okay. A very good afternoon to everybody here, and a big thank you to Business World for inviting me over here. The theme of this session is very, very interesting. The introduction had a lot of heavy words, but after that, I'm quite confident. I represent Symbiosis, Institute of Business Management, Noida. We are the same flagship brand, SIBM Pune, so we are trying to follow the same brand. SIBM Pune is a 50-year-old institution. We are a 1.5-year-old institution. So moving on the same path, technology is very, very important to us. I have, he brought up a very, very relevant topic, but I disagree with him on one thing. He said faculty are slow learners. I have grown up in a non-internet world. In my first job, we had inter-office memos, and internet was not there. We could not send an email. So if you had to communicate to your office in Mumbai, you had to send a letter. From that, we have grown, and people of my generation have seen multiple disruptions, and we have adapted. We have adopted technology. We have embraced it beautifully, and speaking from personal experience, having grown in a non-internet world, I have authored a book on digital marketing, which has been published by Oxford University Press. And when it came out, it was the first book of an Indian author. And while it was just written for academic value, it just, the sales skyrocketed because it was the first book from any Indian author. So, disagree absolutely that faculty members are slow learners. We have adapted very fast. And I'm sure the COVID period showed us all. We suddenly, walked into MS Teams and Zoom. And if you had noticed carefully, when COVID set in somewhere in Feb-March, we started with Microsoft Teams, and the number of apps which Microsoft had in Feb-March versus the number of apps they had by June-July. I mean, they had changed very quickly, introduced so many new apps, and we all embraced them. So did students, and together I think we've all embarked on a journey where technology is sacrosanct, it is all-pervasive, and in every single sphere of our life. We've recently started with a specialization on data analytics. That is what companies want nowadays, I believe. Having said that, I'm a very strong protagonist of Web 2.0, the Web 2.0 world, where we are talking about student and faculty engagement. So I very strongly feel that things like blogs, online communities, social media, social networks are the best possible ways to interact with the students of today. The students, are very, very interactive. Nowadays, students want to be heard, and the need for, self-gratification is pretty high. So allowing them to interact freely on social media, engaging with them there, I think learning is happening automatically. And bringing up the online community culture where you can push peer-to-peer learning, I think that is the fastest modality today. With this, I think I'll pass the mic to my colleague here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sorry, no offense. I didn't mean the
I
faculty
am not
are slow,
offended at all. It is just an observation.
But I only thought that the students are faster than the faculty are, and adapting to the technology. Adapting to the technology, the students are always, one up, and they want to challenge the faculty. What we see on the technology side, and they adapt much faster.
Fair enough.
Over to you, sir.
All right, I represent Great Lakes, Gurgaon, and thank you, Business World, for having me here. The moderator had already introduced the topic, and I believe that he covered a lot of material, or at least thought ideas there. As far as technology being used for engaging students, post-COVID, all business school leaders and faculty have realized that the level of engagement from the student side has become sort of transactional. I don't really understand or probably know what exactly is the reason. Probably the 2 years of online interactions, lack of peer learning, and so on and so forth. So as I was sharing with another gentleman from TAPME earlier, before COVID, we had a lot of students meeting faculty individually, personally, in small groups, etc. We've seen a downtick in that post-COVID. Faculty have to reach out to students often for them to connect. And so that's one indication where we felt that probably in addition to human touch, we probably also need to leverage technology as a medium, like Dr. Vandana just mentioned. There are so many different platforms on which youngsters are available. They hang out. That's their hanging out place. And as faculty and as business school leaders, there's no point in trying to ignore that. In fact, let's leverage it. And we've done that in our school as much as possible. Whereas we still try to keep the distance between what is professional and what is your personal space, right? So we do not use our platforms for any personal sort of communications. So that's one thing that we're trying to do, writing blogs, as you rightly mentioned. Social media is one amazing platform for students to really react and push forward messages about the school, life on campus, and so on and so forth. So for the way I look at it, the technology usage for engagement is not only for the classroom, it's also for driving club activities, for example, or for driving industry student interaction, or for even our quite famous program called the Karma Yoga program, which is our community outreach and leadership development program. We use a lot of social media and other technology tools to empower students to make that outreach activity more of a learning activity for them, which would not be possible just by human-to-human interaction. The other thing, the last thing that I would like to mention is that as the schools have understood what the industry is requiring from our students better now over the last few years, the introduction of analytics or data science or machine learning, deep learning, NLP, etc., as management courses, right? Not as computer courses. So that journey began almost a decade ago with us, and we sort of pioneered the analytics and management kind of space. But as more and more schools have taken up that, caught up on that space, we are now thinking of reinventing ourselves, and I think less of pure analytics and more of data science and artificial intelligence, generative AI. And I think we've all realized that there's no point in fighting Gen AI. It's more about how do we leverage Gen AI and helping students to understand how to use generative AI in a better way. However, one last thing I'd like to mention is that many of us are really not aware of the energy consumption of Gen AI. We've really not looked at that way. I don't know how many of the students are aware, but the average Gen AI energy usage is 30 times more than Google search. That's a humongous number that we're looking at, but we've not really analyzed it at all. Right now, we are all enamored with the idea, generative AI and all of that. But from a sustainability perspective, it really is not the way forward. At least not until it becomes more cost-effective energy-wise. And we also mentioned about blockchain. All of us know how much energy that is going to consume, and that already consumes, right? So we are in this age of new technology, but we've also got to keep one eye on the sustainability factor. As previous panel speakers were talking about different schools, sustainability is really the need of the hour, and I think our generation messed it up. Our generation have messed it up, and we leave the burden to the younger managers now for the future to set the record straight. Thank you.
So one question in the same. When you say that the Gen AI or Chat GPT consumes 30 times more energy, as a student or as a novice, I just thought it saves me 30 times more time.
Yeah.
So it kind of sums it up to zero. So.
Yeah. So like everything else, we give convenience more weightage than the overall impact on the planet, so to say. For example, fast fashion, very convenient for us. But it's totally not done for the environment at large. Similarly is the story with Gen AI, right? It's convenient for us, right? But it's not so good for the
That's why making so fast inroads, yes. Over to you, Subir, sir.
A very good afternoon to all of you. I'm Subir Verma, Director of FORE School of Management, and I'm very grateful to the business world and the fantastic panel sitting alongside me for this, I'm sure about the wonderful session that we're going to have. I think the talk about AI as of now in India is overhyped. Everybody is talking about it, and we are talking about it. In terms of, it is something very similar to what happened with business analytics and data science. Everybody was talking about it, and we started talking about it. The fact of the matter is only 5% of the companies across the world, they use analytics. 20 years back when I was studying at Ahmedabad, we used to take data-driven decisions. That is what we were taught. What has changed? The format of generating that data has changed. The technology of generating that data has changed. But the competency required to analyze and to apply and to create, that remained all the time. So nothing has changed so far. The competencies of the students are concerned. Will you be able to make use of these tools and technology, make use to generate better data, a more defined data, a data that enables you to take a decision? Eventually, you will have to take a decision. And I think that's the focus that we seem to be losing when we start overhyping AI. AI is going to take an impact in India only after 10 years. Let's be very clear on this. The problem that I'm trying to emphasize is, and this is the problem that all of us as an educator are facing. When you have a chat GPT inside the classroom, a faculty has a choice. Either you discuss the answer that has been given by the chat GPT, or you discuss the answer that I'm going to give to you. Right? Now, can I have some kind of a blended approach? Where I say, let's analyze that thing first, and I will tell you why that answer is more important, or my answer is more important. You see, the problem is, the competencies that the students need to have is to be critical in their thinking. Understand that ChatGPT is just one source of information, and that is not the be-all and the end-all. And our ability as a wisdom is to conceptually flesh it out and then take a call to solve the problem that is current to us. And I think faculty has been, I'm very grateful to ma'am for talking about the fact that the faculty has been a rather very quick learner. The only thing that now that we have to learn is how to make our classes more immersive, more practice-based, more industry-focused, so that our competencies align with the evolving need of the industry, which has changed a little bit because of some of the impact that has taken place with regard to technology as a mode of production and technology as a mode of distribution. But our consumption patterns still remain the same, and I think I agree fully well with Professor Jones that we need to be worried about the sustainability aspect. I don't know why we are talking about technology today when our lungs are getting funneled out. We should be talking more about the fact that for us in India, it is the environment right now that probably holds us to ransom. Over to you. Thank you, sir.
Sir, yes. Good afternoon. Thanks to Business World, and I'm very happy to be with wonderful colleagues here on the dais and learned august audience. Very interesting topic is there. Impact of fast-changing technology on students and faculty engagement. Now, if I try to interpret it, the focal point of this topic is engagement. Question is, we are asking engagement between whom? Between students and faculty. But why this engagement is being questioned now? Because technology intervention. And what is the nature of technology? That is fast. That's why this topic is very logical and flows in a very good manner, I will say. The construct from English language is also very appropriate. Now let us say, engagement between student and faculty has been a very historic phenomenon. Rather, in Indian culture, when we go to Indian knowledge system, there used to be Guru and Shishya Parampara. And it was called Upanishadic age, where with full Shraddha, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam, as Bhagavad Gita says, with Shraddha, students used to sit near the feet of the teachers, and teachers used to give them wisdom. But why this was there and why it is not now? Because teachers used to be 75 years plus, because once you are in sannyas phase, you will become teacher. Not like me, who was 27-year-old, became a teacher. So a teacher, eligibility criteria was you should be 75 years old. Because when you take sannyas, go to Vana, you become a teacher. And who used to be students? Who are in Brahmacharya ashram, it means up to the age of 25. So gap between teacher and student was so tall that students used to see the teacher as if someone is sitting at the peak of the Mount Everest. Time has changed. Now many faculty appear like students and many students appear like deans. So this is the situation. And let us accept this. So gap has been reduced. It means now each one has to teach one another. If students teach faculty, teachers teach students, that is the right kind of situation we have to accept, because sometime on 5th September especially, some teachers ask me, tell me the students are not respecting us. I say students are respecting, but they are finding right material to respect, not unlike olden days that because you are teacher, you will be respected. So first question is that every teacher, not only management teacher, either sociology or political science or physics or anthropology, every teacher has to ask a question before engaging with a student that what is my use when information in old days used to be only with teacher. Information, knowledge and wisdom used to be only with teachers. But now information is with all. And knowledge is more with teacher and less with the students. And it is expected that certainly teacher is sitting at the peak of the wisdom. In this change context, it has become totally democratic. And now technology intervened. Now in this technology age, which is fast changing, we should understand, gone are the days, if you remember, there were 24 Tirthankars in Jainism. And not that one Tirthankar period is over and from the second day, second Tirthankar is taking charge. There used to be long gap between two Tirthankars. What happens in university, vice chancellors or institutes, directors, there is no gap because if one director is going, he or she is giving charge to another director, no gap. In Tirthankar gap, in case of vice chancellor, no gap. In case of technology and fast changing environment, not only there is no gap, there is overlapping. For example, Industry 4.0 discussion is not yet over and the phase is also not yet over. But Industry 5.0 phase has started, not only started, it has started making inroads into the entire system. Now if we understand this difference, then I'll come to the next round. Industry 4.0 said, in context of student-teacher engagement, that basically the queen bee is technology, how technology can be developed and how technology can lead to advancement of industry, knowledge, society, education. But Industry 5.0 now says that technology enabled development. So technology has become subservient. So in that context, this topic basically itself is into X-1 time zone because we have already advanced. By the time we actually coin the topic, things have changed. That is the fast changing technology. Industry 5.0 says use technology. Without technology, there is no rescue. Use technology for the sake of greater call of humanity. I mean to say,
So, sir,
unless we combine.
If we come back to the faculty and student engagement and the pivot is around technology, that how do you see the campuses evolving with the onslaught of technology, AI, and what are you feeling in your campus? How is it shaping up the relationships between the faculty? And you started the point that the students have started respecting only on some parameters. Ma'am had something to add on that respect part or something else on that.
I wanted to add to the part where we need to accept one thing, that while a couple of earlier generations learned things on the job, our students study technical subjects from class 1 or class 2. I mean, primary education, a 6-year-old knows what the internet is all about. Or a 5-year-old, maybe I'm wrong, maybe a 4-year-old now knows what the internet is all about. I still remember 12 or 14 years back, I asked a couple of my students, how many hours do you spend on the internet? And their answer shocked me. It was about 9 to 12 hours a day. I mean, I couldn't figure out what they were doing online. I mean, those many hours. But then the minute COVID period came, whatever they were saying was regularized. I mean, they were normal, we were the not so normal ones. So this is one part. Second part is, when we talk about students, sir was talking about the scenario where initially access to information was available only with faculty. Now students have access to every single thing. So there is a very thin line between what you actually teach in class.
Actually, I wanted to raise a scenario question on the same, and from the faculty side, that with the onslaught of AI, and especially when you have started the gamification, and then you have Mentimeters in the class, and we have all allowed use of telephones and mobile phones in the classes, I don't know.
And laptops.
And laptops. So with the gamification and with the Mentimeters, one is the concentration issue. face in the class. The second is that as soon as you start teaching and you start presenting, your own knowledge is being checked and being questioned because somebody has done the Gen AI and has figured out what presentation is going to come from there, and then are you on top of it, or are you bringing to the class more than what the Gen AI or any chat GPT has brought?
The catch here is, if you read actually what chat GPT has created, is it always correct? I mean, the contextual element is absolutely lost, and some content is created. As a faculty, when we teach in class, our responses have a context. You know, we know what the student was actually asking or what was the conversation happening prior to this. So that is missing in the responses given by ChatGPT, right? This is one part of it. But what we need to actually worry about is this, killing the creativity of the students, right? And then the next question is democracy. Allowing the students to be democratic is fine. We do that all the time. Students want to speak a lot. We let them speak. At the end of the day, we need to remember that companies will want go-getters, and mollycoddling any students or allowing them to speak a lot and appreciating them even when their work is not very great will not help us in any way. So that element of respect which was there probably 30 years back may or may not be there today. At the end of the day, mature students still accept that, the gap between the faculty and the student while going down. Eventually a faculty will remain a faculty, a student will remain a student. We are willing to learn from students because, like sir said, by the time something gets published, it's already, at times it's obsolete, something new has come in. And if a student is a little more tech savvy, he may be able to, complete a task faster at times, right? So we are willing to learn from students, but then yes, what we need to actually accept is technology is just an enabler, and the content that is created, if you read every word of it, you will realize that the context is missing. The answer is there, may be correct.
Dr. Mathew, I mean, you have a call on that. I mean, how is your engagement with your students now?
See, the way I look at generative AI or any of these technologies, that it's excellent for students to have a base level of something to work on, right? So for example, even as a researcher, we spend a lot of time figuring out hypotheses and stuff like that. So for young students, instead of spending a lot of time doing background research, they can get a first cut of whatever they want to look at. And as faculty, I think one of our biggest challenges is how do you get the students to go beyond the first cut? So whatever is the standardized Gen AI outcome, as a faculty, how do you encourage them to add more value, identify what is right, what is wrong, what can be improved? And I think, as Dr. Subir mentioned, not a large number of companies even today use AI. It may happen in the near future, but they all seem to want students to have this skill to prepare their own organizations. So when we look at my school, when we look at this, we have a lot of open book exams, right? In fact, as I mentioned, Gen AI is allowed, right? And when the faculty is designing the question is designed in a manner so that we are able to stratify students into 3 categories: average, good, and really, above the line. So, and that depends a lot on whether they are using ChatGPT just for the base level and it's like copy paste, or are they really using some reflection, some deeper analysis? And I think that's the fear that I have. If we just let it go uncontrolled, we will have a bunch of, or a generation of people who may not be really using our human capacity to reflect, contextualize, and dig deep into problems. And if we just let it be driven by ChatGPT, we have a huge problem coming up in the next few years.
Yeah, my question, was primarily to understand that has it led to copy paste and presentation with more animation, or are we making shallow managers, or are we really? Is this technology leading them to just think that the AI knowledge is their own knowledge? Let Dr. Subir get.
I think Professor Jones has really expressed it very well. If I see from the engagement point of view, that's what I think you're trying to drive home at. The fact of the matter is the screen time of the students have gone up. students are involved watching the mobile right inside the classroom. And that is now has become a biggest challenge for a faculty. What do we do with it? And they have come to us asking this question, the students use mobile, what do we do? The thing is, my typical response is that maybe you're not engaging them enough. If you move away from the mode of just purely teaching to the mode of enhancing their learning, this usage of mobile will not become disruptive. So how can we align our teaching to the reality, which is a reality that is also at home, I'm sure at a lot of us, our home, when our children spend more time on the screen than with us, as compared to what we used to do earlier when we were children. What do? Do we leave our children just like that? Or do we try to engage them? And so we need to understand the psychology of the student more in terms of how can they find my interaction with them as a teacher more engaging, and I use the word more immersive, and more application and industry oriented. Why should a student listen to a faculty? That's a fundamental question that we need to all ask. Why should a student need to listen to a faculty who is spouting an information that is already there, and maybe by a person more profound in terms of the learning and the accomplishment? But then if I am, let us say, an interlocutor, this is where the faculty has to come to over there. I'm an interlocutor between what is there and what you have as of now. And can I make you a more critical thinker than what you were earlier? If I can do that, I'm actually creating a generation which probably will be understanding technology in a much better and more useful way than what we would have imagined.
So, Dr. Singh, but the question still haunts me is that with the use of technology, are we bringing in these skills which we wanted to embed in a prospective manager of critical thinking, go-getter, and entrepreneurial skills? Is this helping, or this in the journey of our management schools transition period, it is still cut-paste, it is still adding value, making presentation, overriding, how are you getting marks, better presentation than the others, seeing, what has technology led to, and are we adding value in our system through this technology usage, and especially AI nowadays? Because this seems to be the buzzword, and this seems to be haunting us all, how to tackle this.
Fine. So question is that in the process of engagement of faculty and students, technology has also come as the third factor, creating a triangle. Say student, faculty, and technology. I will talk something very basic. Number one, ati sarvatra varjayet. A very golden maxim is there. Excess of everything is bad. Earlier days, only BTech students used to know technology, let us say, because degree reads BTech. And sociology student would say, what I have to do with that? But no, now art student, painters, singers, they need to know technology. Today, there is a society where a science student with artistic mind and art student with scientific pursuit will only be worthy for the society. Now, when technology has come into and applying the maxim of Ati Sarvatra Varjayet, let me say few basic dictates. Students are not allowed, I am saying, Pawan Kumar Singh is saying, students should not be allowed to go, forget about AI and chat GPT, students should not be allowed to surf internet Google unless he or she has studied 10 printed pages on that matter. Whatever is printed, it may be a bit outdated, no problem. And faculty is not allowed to surf internet, Google, unless he or she has studied 20 pages. What happens when you search internet at the first go? You do not search internet. Internet searches you. Internet is searching you, isn't it? And when you actually know the base, what you have to search for, and there is a base, you search the relevant material. In this case, what is happening, the technology is for a technocrat, technology is the central point. But for all students, say financial management or even art or science or commerce or engineering, technology is a good servant but a bad master. For example, a faculty, if light is off and I am using, say, PowerPoint, I should not be off. That is the over-dependence on technology. I have seen faculty becoming off when power is off. Your power should be in the faculty, not in the PowerPoint. That I am saying. So, faculty has to fully use technology. Students have to fully use technology. Engagement process has to fully use technology. But as it is defined in old Shastra, that a creative person is one who can accomplish a task in multiple ways. My question to faculty is that, can you teach the same topic in 5 different ways, actually fetching the same meaning, same purpose, but process is different? Sometime using technology heavily, sometime little use of technology, sometime no technology. I always define a faculty who is effective that in a desert where nothing is available, you are standing and speaking, can you make a verbal painting of the whole thing without showing the PowerPoint or something like that? So, in this way I understand technology should be respected. Respected with capital R. Please, technology has to be respected. But anything that is respected, it has a due place. So in the process of engagement, technology is a great enabler. You imagine any field, right from agriculture to, let us say, spacecraft, to defense forces, where we can deny technology. So in this process of engagement, faculty student must discuss that all the sectors of economy, society, even political science, now political science, psephology is full of technology. So technology has to be respected, and in this engagement, we should know how to use it, when to use it, and how much to use it. And we should also know when not to use it and how much not to use it. So this is my take on this point.
Sir.
I just want to say something over here. Sir has already talked about it, Dr. Pawan Singh. I think one of the biggest leveler of this technological change has been that PowerPoint as a mode of instruction has gone out of the window. All right? No student today wants to look beyond 2 or 3 slides. And that is now a challenge to faculty who do not understand the Guru Shishya methodology of teaching. They never had what Dr. Pawan Singh was talking about. They never had all this apparatus. Yet they would capture the crowd and they would deliver it to them. And that is the ability that a faculty now needs to have. So maybe I think the time of PowerPoint is gone. I remember Dr. Pritam Singh who used to say, power corrupts and PowerPoint corrupts absolutely.
So I have one more question. In this technology enabled and somehow, my daughter went to Columbia Business School and there everybody, she just finished last year and then says that everybody had imbibed AI and more technology and she didn't read a single paper on print and paper. So every content is delivered online or there is reading. So if we are aping the West or if we are, following what is being done over there, the challenges being faced in our kind of business schools is that there is one set of students who are coming from BCom and BBA background and not so technology savvy, and the other is coming from a BTech and computer science background, and having them in the same class of financial analysis, do you face challenges and how do you handle those challenges?
Earlier, the traditional method was to have bridge courses for those students. But nowadays, considering these schools don't have that kind of time, so having short-term workshops helps the students who do not have a background with technology. Having said that, I will, probably digress a little from this question and go back to what was said earlier. The biggest challenge which, all of us are facing nowadays is that earlier, imbibing education was about memorizing. Lately, it is becoming about data retrieval, right? Students are very fast data retrievers, and that is not the purpose of education that we are giving. So somewhere I would like to endorse the point that usage of internet should go down, and the creativity element should, be emphasized, and that is what will
Ma'am, it's same
help
as that. Do you
generations
want to
for
remember?
future.
Do you want to still remember the phone numbers of people?
No,
It's still
phone
data.
numbers, no?
I mean, we would say that we could remember the phone numbers. At our
Correct.
time, I had 100 phone numbers which I remembered by heart, but now I don't. And is that where we really want to go to?
But concepts.
The elephant is right now there in your room.
Yes.
So that's the elephant of internet.
And the participation, he was talking about Mentimeter. So in every class, if you ask students to, if you take an opinion poll or if you take how many students endorse a particular viewpoint, it is being democratic, yes. But then somewhere beyond a point, are we, the purpose of education, a concept is a concept, right? So we need to memorize that. So there's a difference between a knowledge-based concept and a phone number. Right? So that we still need to memorize, but the way we are moving forward, somewhere the focus on data retrieval is a little more than actually committing things to memory.
So,
I think
Dr. Jones, the last and final question from my side, and we can have one question from the audience also, is with so much of technology now embedded into the management education, and we do try to do most of the classes on tools and excessive use of tools. How do you see you going forward doing your evaluation? Is it going to be more online? Is it going to be more computer based? Especially when we see that the cheating and ethics issues in the online are kind of unsolvable at this point in time. So.
Very valid question, and something which is very troubling for all of us is that with the advent of all these online examination systems, etc., the level of UMC or unfair means cases is shooting through the roof. In fact, we are struggling with that as well. And our penalties for internet-based examination unfair means committees is extremely harsh. For example, even if it's a 5-mark quiz and you're caught in an internet scam, when I say scam, I mean you open something else which you're not supposed to open, you get an F for the whole course, even if it's a 5-mark quiz. So we've gone that heavy on trying to control this, but let me also sadly say that it has not stopped. It continues. People are taking that risk even now. So what we have understood is that it has to be, so there are now systems where you proctor examinations, etc. So the system automatically shuts down if you move away from the screen, right? So that's what we have now adopted. Despite a lot of explanations to students about the cost of unfair means adoption in these examinations, there are always these mavericks and adventure seekers, and who will then later come on and express their regret about everything. But in the moment, they will do all of this. So will we be able to completely eliminate it? I doubt it. My point is that we could explore opportunities or technologies to reduce this as much as possible. And sometimes, in fact, we've had a discussion, should we go back to pen and paper?
So I had a professor from Johns Hopkins University last week, and they said, all this technology being used in teaching, it says 50% of our professors, and their entire teaching is on computer-based learning, and 50% of our teachers have now gone back to paper and pencil examination. So is technology helping the cause? And especially in the business schools of teaching and learning, are we there? We'll quickly, he told us it's final time. We can have 30 seconds from each one of you for a final comment, ma'am. We can start from there. Sir.
So my final take on this engagement issue is that we must ask question in the system where the students are spending time, say 2 years MBA program, and I'm focused on MBA now. So where they're spending time when they don't get time to prepare for exam and they have to go to ChatGPT and cheat from there, cheat. So what is happening? That is the problem. Second point is that when we use technology, even in the case of examination, is an enabler. And in IIM Tiruchirappalli also we have discussed this issue, and just next week we are going to have a written documented policy that how further we will enhance the kind of, say, punishment for this kind of act. So we have to be very careful on this dimension. And technology which could have been highly useful for us, we are taking the wrong side of the coin. That is unfortunate. That I have to add to that point.
Subir, sir.
I think I said the technology is there, it's an elephant in the room. Thing is, how do we master it? How do we make use of it? How do we make students learn better? The challenge for us in order to engage with our students is that as a faculty, we need to move out from the comfort zone of just teaching and showing PowerPoint to creating simulations, creating games, making classes more immersive, making classes more practice-based, bringing in industry focus in whatever we are teaching. So I would say that faculty needs to become much more humble with the fact that today they are not the font of all knowledge that is there or all wisdom that is there. And their job is just to enable the recipients ask better questions. And if faculty is able to do that, I think we're all done.
Lastly, I would like to just mention that technology, like everything else, has a good side and a bad side. We focused a lot on the bad side because we are concerned, we are worried about which direction this could take if we don't put the right things in place. But I think, as Dr. Subir also mentioned and Dr. Singh mentioned, there's a lot of responsibility on the faculty to step out of their comfort zone, stop being the fount of all knowledge, and so on and so forth. Also to sensitize students to the impact of depending too much on a particular technology on their overall growth as a human being, as a corporate employee, and basically personal success. Right? There's a limit to which you will be able to go as students depending on all of these technologies. Ultimately, people will reward you for your own creativity, reflective powers, ability to contextualize things, and come up with solutions like a consultant. All of that cannot be done only by AI, but it's a great enabler.
Thank you. I agree with all the panelists here, and thanks to you, it has been a very interesting discussion. Just 2 lines here. We are in an era where after the advent of ChatGPT, there are workshops available for students which teach them how to ask, put in the right question in ChatGPT. The language of the question, as you change the language of the question, the answer changes or the quality of answer changes. So there are workshops available which are teaching students how to use the right string of words when putting in a query in ChatGPT, which will give a particular category of answer. Because we were talking about, phase 1 or, the base level answer or something. So the relevant choice of words will change the level or quality of answer. These are the kind of workshops that are available for students right now. So it is a huge challenge for business schools to stay ahead, to remain contemporary. Having said that, I think the answer lies in a good combination of traditional methods and using a good mix of technology. Over to the moderator.
Yeah. At Doon Business School, we tried, we made a statement that we want to be ahead of the curve in the AI adoption with each faculty. And we tried doing that in each course, and we added a unit 6 in each course, use of AI in the course, whatever we have taught. I mean, there were 5 units, we added a unit 6, and we started a, AI-based also some test at the end of the paper. We had a lot of prizes being given to the faculty that who is the most innovative in using AI in the classes, and we were shocked, and we were really stunned that all of us and so many of us, like I teach finance, and in financial analysis we've been teaching ratio analysis and how do you analyze a balance sheet and how do you make those projections, and use of Power BI or use of cloud AI, all that what we teach in the entire 2 semesters or a 6 credit comes to you in 2 minutes. And we do not know where to take it forward, because how much of analysis and how much of shallow learning is happening and how much of co-learning is happening is yet to be discovered. We are still in the phase when we are discovering every day, learning new things. I can have a last question from the students. We see some students also here. If any student wants to ask any question around how do you feel, the best way to learn for you, and how your engagements are going on with faculty after, what do you enjoy the technology or anything around that? So, yeah, please.
the topic is fast-changing technology on students and faculty management. So my question is, how can we prioritize our own professional development in relation to technological development? Since companies are asking for ChatGPT experts these days instead of SEOs, so how can we prioritize our professional development in relation to technological development? Thank you.
Any one of you want to answer, sir?
I'll just add 1 or 2 points. You see, it is all swallowing. When you want to take roti or chawal, you have a quantity, isn't it? Now, if technology is taken too much and your overall development is subservient to that, things will go haywire. That is point number 1. Point number 2, बासी रोटी आप पसंद करते हैं कि ताजा रोटी? Answer है ताजा रोटी. Taja roti means reflection, shravan, manan, nididhyasana, when there is time to actually ponder over and establish within the quintessential essence of the wisdom. So your personality development, your overall development as a world citizen is the number 1 requirement. Technology is helping that, so there is no tug of war. So in that context, use technology to develop yourself. That is my take.
Okay, let's conclude. I think for the faculty and for management schools, for the research, this is a food for thought. This is the topic of the year at least. The ethics in AI. I mean, that's what the corporate are all talking about. Use of AI in their business and how is the ethical use can be done. Also on the regulation front, I think there are a lot of researchers and the government and the business schools need to work together on figuring out that how do we regulate and how do we bring in the regulations in. And I hope once the research papers churn out, we will see some rules also being framed by the government around it. And I hope the technology will bring the best out of us and we'll be faster, leaner, and more effective producers of managers of tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. It was a wonderful talking to you all.